Hey guys, it's Centurion Master and welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're going to take a look at the German Tier 4 destroyer, the V170. So let's jump straight into the stats. Just bear in mind that this is a fully upgraded V170 and not a base, so there's hardly any difference really between the two. So we're just going to go through the stats that are fully upgraded with all the modules on to let you know what you can look forward to when you get to that position. Survivability score of 15, hit points of 10,300 is pretty decent for a destroyer at this tier. But as you can see, body armour, it's pretty much tissue paper. Any rounds hitting you will go through you like a Friday night vindaloo. So try and do all your best work from stealth, as you should do in a destroyer anyway. Artillery 14, 4 times 1, 105mm. You got a reload time of 4 seconds, 180 degree turn time of 18 seconds, and a maximum dispersion of 83 meters. Is pretty decent. That's not a bad performing set of guns. Certainly for someone like myself who's used to the Japanese destroyers, it's nice to have a slightly improved array of guns. And I've done some good work with them. Maximum HE shell damage 1200, chance of fire on target 5% is pretty decent, firing range of 9k, and the additional damage for the AP is up to 2300. So all in all, not a bad set of guns. I suppose the only negative or downside is meters per second. Shell velocity is 715, which isn't the fastest. They're kind of more of a looping shot than sort of like being driven home, but can have advantages when you shoot it from behind cover or behind islands, etc, etc. So yeah, all in all, I think this is a decent set of main batteries to have, and you'll see that in the gameplay. Torpedoes then, you got 2 times 1, 500mm at the front at both sides, so you can get that one torp off at a slightly narrower angle than you're probably used to on most destroyers. Reload time of 37.8 seconds, 180 degree turn time of 7.2 seconds, maximum damage of just over 10,500 is pretty decent, torpedo range of 7k, and detectability range from sea of 1k. So all in all, it's not a bad set of torpedoes on this ship. You've got another set, obviously in the middle of a ship, 2 times 2, 500mm with exactly the same set of scores there. So with that 7k range, not too bad. Reload time's okay, and the damage is pretty good. So all in all, I think it's definitely a sort of hybrid destroyer. It's got a decent set of artillery and a decent set of torpedoes. So it's very well balanced. AA scores 5, as you'd expect. I mean, average damage per second of 6, firing range of 2k. You've got 2 times 1, 20mm. You're not really designed to shoot down planes. This is merely a self-defense weapon, and probably at best just to slightly annoy those spotting planes or anybody else. So don't really play with a play style of attempting to try and shoot down any planes, because you're not going to have much joy. Maneuverability score of 85, maximum speed of 35.5 knots, turning circle radius of 500 meters, and a rudder shift time of 2.7 seconds. Pretty decent. Not the fastest, but it's pretty manoeuvrable. It's not too bad at all. It allows you to get in to some decent attacking positions pretty quickly, and you can get out of them reasonably well as well, certainly at this tier. Concealment score of 97, detectability range by sea of 5.7k. Now bear in mind, as I'll show you in a moment, my captain does have a forgot. Concealment expert on him. Bless his cotton socks. So that does give him that little bit of extra concealment, and obviously a few modules you can get on there as well to assist you. Detectability range by air is 2.6, and obviously the other two pretty standard at 2k. So it's at this point with the captain I've got, a very stealthy ship, but without that as well, it's still pretty decent. Most destroyers at this tier are going to average about the same, anywhere between 6.2 and 7k detection range, so to get down to 5.5 it does give me a bit of an advantage. But it's still a decent all-round ship. Let's have a quick look at the modules. As you see, fully upgraded, so the stats do reflect that. Upgrades on the ship, I've currently got propulsion modification 1, the extra survivability and accelerates repairs of certain components on a ship, which is absolutely vital. And main armaments modification 1. Again, the reason I've got this one on, just for survivability of torpedo tubes. I think it's absolutely key when you're predominantly a torpedo boat. I mean, I've got better set of guns on here than I have done on some of the Japanese destroyers I've recently reviewed, but I'm still focused mainly with torpedoes, as you should do, because that's where most of your damage is going to come from. Ammunition and consumables, we've just got the repair kit, we've got the smoke, and we've got the engine boost 1. So all in all, pretty good ship. I think it's very well balanced, well rounded. Good guns, good torpedoes, shocking armour, shocking AA. But what's new at this tier for destroyers? I mean, they don't really get much better do they as you move on. Maneuverability, pretty decent. and concealment at this point fantastic, but generally at a core level anyway, it's still a pretty decent ship. So what we'll do now is move on to a little bit of gameplay, a game I played earlier on today. I'll show you kind of how you can put into effect some of the things we spoke about, how you could decide to use your destroyer, and yeah, show you some of the skill sets that this ship brings to the table. Okay, here's some gameplay. Right then guys, here we go. We're on New Dawn and this is a standard battle, and we're prowling away in our German Tier 4 destroyer, the V170. Obviously it doesn't really matter what ship you're in, whether that be a battleship, cruiser or a destroyer. Always consider what your main focus and objective is in that ship. I mean, in this case I'm in a destroyer, so for me it's about spotting enemy ships for friendlies, and where possible trying to take the enemy cap, or just generally take caps depending on what map and what type of battle you're on. Obviously on this occasion it'll be a bit foolhardy of me to surge forward and try and take the enemy cap on my own. My thoughts at this point are always to try and consolidate our own position, kind of figure out the disposition of the enemy and maybe their tactics before deciding what we're going to do as a team. We don't always have that form of communication. At this point I've just decided I'm going to stay on the eastern side, support the ships that may come this way and do whatever spotting I can. So at 34 knots already, it's a pretty mobile ship, the V170. It's very agile, very manoeuvrable, decent rudder shift time, and as you saw there with those guns moving into position, the traverse speed's pretty decent. And at this point I did expect a destroyer to be moving down this side somewhere, and normally on a game like this there is somebody going to be coming down this sort of direction, so I'm trying to keep my guns trained and wait for the opportunity if it presents itself. And there we have already, as expected, a little enemy wicks. So we try where possible to get some torpedoes off. It's always going to be difficult to hit destroyers with torpedoes at anything above 5k. They're just so manoeuvrable, and torpedo boat captains often expect torpedoes to come their way anyway, and will take the necessary precautions. But we try and get some shots into this little bugger. Very manoeuvrable ship, the wicks, and it does take a little bit of time to get our aim in. As you can see, I was talking about the guns at 4-second reloads, pretty decent. It does allow you to get shots and rounds down pretty quickly, something I'm not particularly used to playing Japanese destroyers. It isn't long before we start to get our rounds trained on this target. Always thoughts when you're up against a destroyer like this to just try and get them out of the way as quick as possible. Obviously all the time that you're shooting them, you're not only visible to that destroyer but possibly many other people in the local area. And the last thing you want is 3, 4 or 5 ships raining shots down on you. So he's got his smoke up. Quick check on the minimap, no one in the area, get some torpedoes away, and try and push that a little bit closer. Obviously he's the smoke, I can't see him, but now he can't see me either. So it does afford me a little bit of time to manoeuvre around into a slightly better position. Always the one benefit of being out of a smoke screen undetected, but you kind of have the advantage in terms of where you can go and what you can do. Now we just need to get shots down on this wicks quickly. He's kind of just sat there, either accepting his fate or just completely give in, but he's not really doing a lot. His engine quite possibly incapacitated. And now we have our first kill, so just under 6,000 damage at this point. 14 target hits and 2 fires, so not a bad little return from that first engagement. 2 ships to 1 up and a small caps lead, so as good a start as any. Now we have an enemy Myogi in the distance, so at this point, looking at the trajectory or the expected path of this battleship, was kind of expecting him to come around the back of these islands, so carried on in that sort of direction, hoping to find some opportunities to get some more torpedoes off. Again, 5.7k detection range on this ship at the moment with the captain I've got, so I can be a little brave in these sort of scenarios. You probably can't be so brave from a base position, but you're always going to have that detectability advantage over a battleship. Now I've got a Carolina there as well, but I did decide to carry on pursuing this Myogi. Don't want to be sat in the middle of 2 battleships, so keep my distance. and try and find a position to get some torpedoes off. Now I know I'm going to lose him behind this island and lose visibility for a while, so I'll just turn off to starboard side, try and maintain that distance so I don't get spotted when I crest this bend of this island, and try and get those torps off from a stealth position. Remember, it's always important when operating a destroyer, but unless absolutely necessary, you always try and stay in a stealthy position. It's your biggest advantage. Certainly when you get these torpedoes off, just over 10,500 damage possibly per torp, so a potential high return. And there we have our first 4 torpedoes away against a Myogi. Always tempting at this point, when you know those guns aren't trained on you, to get some shots off, but again, as I've said in many other videos, always consider whether firing is more beneficial than staying hidden. And in most circumstances you are going to find that just staying stealthy as a destroyer is always going to be your best bet, unless you literally have no choice. But that Myogi's made some decent manoeuvres there, seeing those torps early, or anticipated those torps and turned off to his starboard side and made the necessary adjustments. So now I can get some shots off. I'm at a secondary range and he's clearly not focused on me. Get a little fire going as a result, which isn't bad. But obviously looking for torpedoes now. I've got those 2 Caledons just ahead of me, so I slam the anchors on. Now I know that second Caledon's got some torps off, so he's going to peel off to his port side, so I can fire these with confidence, knowing that all threads are safe. We're going to continue to pump some rounds into the side of this battleship. We'll get the smoke going. Don't want to be detected at this point. And we've got 2 ships in the local area. There's plenty to keep him occupied. But again, he's made a decent turn there and just taking the 1 torpedo hit. Sticks us up to 13,000 damage. Now again, waiting here for an opportunity to get some more torpedoes off, and do so pretty quickly. And at this point you'll see the Caledon in the distance. Now he's moved behind that island. Never in a million years did I feel he was going to turn back around and get himself to a position where he could be steamrolled by my own torpedoes. So a bit of a spoiler there. But I know at least 1 or 2 of these are going to hit. But nonetheless, just keep getting some rounds down, you never quite know. And there we have it. Second kill of a game. Just over 20,000 damage. 40 target hits, 3 fires, and 3 torpedo hits. So this flank secure. At this point in the game, wasn't aware, and had a quick glance across to see one of my torpedoes slam home into the Caledon. Always a disappointing situation when that happens, but I felt at the point of releasing those torpedoes I was justified. Kind of felt that old Lord DTR over there should maybe have anticipated a little bit better torpedoes coming his way, but in hindsight I certainly could have given maybe a warning. But unfortunately that wasn't the case, but he's still there, hasn't been killed, but I'll take my bollocking on this occasion. Okay, we're going to push forward now, turn off to the port side. We've got a Carolina coming in, and that's our next target we need to deal with. As you can see, pretty manoeuvrable, cuts through those waves with no problem. Allows us to change course at a moment's notice. I mean, most destroyers do, to be honest, but this is, I really do feel this is a really decent ship at this tier. A really well balanced, all-round good destroyer. But whether you're a torpedo player or a gunboat player, you're going to find something on this ship which works for you. Now here we go, 6.7, 6.6k, so in range. And you can see the arc of that first torpedo was so narrow that I don't have to expose too much of a ship to release it. Again, haven't followed a predicted path there. Felt that he was going to turn to his port side and try and narrow the angle on all of us down in the southern side of the map. Again, at this point, just desperately trying to stay undetected. But he has seen us there. But I don't think I'm his biggest concern at this point, luckily for me. And all those torpedoes miss. That's the second time Our battleship on this game has made some decent manoeuvres, and it was already starting to frustrate me. So again, quick check of the minimap. Nobody in the near vicinity. Get some torpedoes off. I am confident at this point against a battleship that I do have a manoeuvrability to dodge rounds as and when they come in. It would take a very good shot to ping me at this range from a battleship. Let's see what these torpedoes can do. I'm in range now to get some rounds down again. But as I said, it's about staying undetected, and surely at least 2 of these are going to hit. There's 1. There's 2. Oh, and the 3rd one has just missed. But shoots us up to 38,000 damage, so not too bad. And there we go again. Get some more torpedoes away. Now we're well inside detection range here. There'll be no point in not firing, so I'm going to do what I can to try and continue to harass this battleship. We get a fire going. And he's got an accepted fate at this point. He's completely on his own. No support at all. Just further evidence that certainly in a battleship you just can't sail the seas unprotected. And ship number 3 sunk, so we're on 47.5, just under 1,000 damage, 65 target hits, 4 fires and saw 6 torpedoes driven into the side of our target, so it's not too bad. Good place. 40% of a ship sunk belong to me. Always makes me happy. So now what we're going to do is just cut back in towards a cap. At this point, I know there was a couple of destroyers heading that way. There's no way I'm going to head up towards the enemy cap. I mean, we are down on cap points, we are down on ships. We can either be ultra aggressive and try and take the base, but by the time it's going to take us to get there, it's pretty much let's just go and defend our own first and see where we're at. That was my thoughts anyway. But we was always in a position where, regardless of what happens now, it's going to be a tough game to win. Speed boost's gone as well, so completely reliant on the natural speed of a ship to get us where we need to go. As I said, it's not a slouch, it's just not the fastest destroyer, but at tier 4 it's not bad. So we've seen so far the torpedoes are decent. You know, strong torpedoes, good damage on impact, decent speed. And you've got those 2 torpedoes with narrow arcs, which always are a benefit to have. Certainly in those close quarter situations, maybe tucking in between islands where you want to, we've all been in those positions where you desperately want to get torpedoes off, but you just can't make the manoeuvres. So it does give you that little bit of advantage in those sort of circumstances where you can just turn just a little bit to get that torpedo off. It might be a difference between winning or losing a game, or living and dying, as often finds my cost. I do know there's 2 DDs heading towards our cap, so it's got to be a focus at this point. Always take time when you're manoeuvring from one place to the next, so just have a glance at the minimap, last known positions. If you can communicate with your team, try and figure out a decent, formulate a good plan, give yourself the best chance of winning. My thoughts here, whereas you can already see somebody's in our cap-in, is that I'm going to have to pretty much get in there first. It's on by far the fastest ship left on our little armada now. So off we go. Could have done with a speed boost here. In fact, could have done with a couple more speed boosts. Nice little ship. I really enjoy playing this ship. I would definitely recommend it. I mean, I've said the same about a Japanese line, but I think all in all, maybe as an all-rounder, I still do prefer the Japanese destroyer line. I think it just best suits my style of play, but I can't deny that I think as an all-round ship, probably tier for tier, the Germans maybe are a tad better. I mean, you may disagree, and if you do so, please leave us a note in the comments. But I think with the extra punch and reload time of the guns, certainly in certain circumstances, it just gives you that little bit of an advantage. But if you're generally a torpedo player, a distance player like myself, then definitely I think the Japanese have the edge. And there we have perfect little destroyer. Sat there admiring his view. Wasn't expecting us to come in that quickly. Now we've got a low health St. Louis. My objective at this point was just get rid of him as quickly as possible. Even a ship on low health has full health guns that could do maximum damage, so let's focus on him. Again, I'm protected by the enemy smoke here, so he still doesn't know where I am. Just going to get a couple of torps off, a couple of blind shots, see if I can get lucky. Now he's going to appear somewhere, and this is going to be a very difficult situation. I knew there was one destroyer here for definite. Wasn't expecting two, and ultimately that's what happens. There was two destroyers over on the western side, and there's one, and here's another one. And to say the least, I expected torpedoes slammed into the side of my ship at any point. Quickly repair my steering, slam over to the starboard side, managed to dodge that one, get some torps off, hope for the best. And we're going to miss these. And there we have Kraken unleashed. Can't complain. Close quarter situation, and that goes to show just how manoeuvrable this destroyer is. Managed to dodge out the way of two not brilliantly placed torpedo shots, but couldn't have done that in a slightly slower, less manoeuvrable destroyer. But it gives us our fifth kill at 60,500 damage with 7 torpedoes finding target. Can't really complain. So I'm down to, it's just me. There's another set of torpedoes. I'm going to try and get some more shots off. Now at this point, with the time we've got left, just over 3.5 minutes, there's two ways you can look at this. He's no longer in the cap. He may not go back in the cap, and I can head up towards theirs, try and take on a battleship and try and get into the cap and do something. Or assume that he's going to try and get back into the cap if I do that, which ultimately is what I think he would do, and I'm going to lose anyway. So I do decide to go back towards that cap, try and take this guy out. But really I kind of sense now that even if I do take this destroyer out, which I'm going to do, I'm probably not going to be able to get up the top and take this battleship out before the time runs out. And there he is. Thought he may have gone around the side of the island, so I've got some torps away. I'm getting fully confident at this point that the next salvo or two is going to finish him off. And there's the torps, as expected. But no threat. Wanted to turn in now and give chase. But here comes a salvo, so have to turn away before turning back. 61, just under 62,000 damage. 5 kills. Sorry, 6 kills. I've robbed myself of a kill there, Centurion, come on. So not a bad game for me all in all. Half of the enemy ships at this point, just over, have been taken by myself. I think that's a credit to this ship. You saw how manoeuvrable it was in a close quarter engagement. The guns have got a decent reload time, good range, good chance of setting fires. 4 fires so far in this battle. And it's a really good all-rounder. At this point, if only I had a speed boost, I was hoping to slam down in between these islands and hopefully try and cut this battleship off. But again, we've got 1 minute 38 seconds left now. So I'm just going to sail away out of detection and hope for the best. Maybe he makes a stupid move and get some torps off and be our last gasp hero for the team. But I think ultimately it's going to play out as we expected. And I'm not going to be able to get there quick enough. Maybe some of you have played this ship a lot. Obviously you may have different thoughts to it to me. If you do, please leave your comment down below. I'm more than happy and willing to listen and hear to them. Any feedback is more than appreciated. But for me, it's a really good all-round. It's kind of like the James Milner of the German line. It kind of fits in everywhere and does everything pretty well, but probably nothing exceptional. But it's certainly a nice ship to play. It's an easy ship to play. Doesn't require, has a couple of decent perks, with the narrow angles on the torps. So all in all, I think it's certainly going to be a ship that if you do play, you're going to enjoy. We'll be a little bit sad to move on to the next, but it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast that we're in. So hopefully going to come around this this bend now and maybe get some shots off on this battleship as our act of defiance. But we've got 20 seconds left. And there he is, he's too far away. One more example of a torpedo being fired at such a narrowed arc. A nice little message there from a colleague, which is always nice when good play is recognised. Unfortunately on this occasion it's not going to be enough, and there we have another fire. But that's it. Defeat. Such a good game. Would have preferred the win, but I can't complain at the board here. Just under 190,000 silver, just under 2,500 experience, 123 free experience. So all in all, not a bad return. We've lost 5.5 grand for that unfriendly torpedo. We get the Kraken, which is always nice. 62,000 damage, 99 target hits, 7 torpedoes, 6 kills there, 5 fires, and the 4 flooding. So not a bad game considering. That was good enough to put us top of the board. Yeah, so not a bad return. Good ship. Give it a go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the channel, please give us a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm really trying to develop this channel at this point. Obviously in early stages. I enjoy doing these videos. So anything you'd like to see, obviously please leave a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to try and oblige. And yeah, look forward to hearing from you guys. Catch you next time. Take care.